Hello everybody, so today we're going to be reading There Is No Escape, Yandere SCPFoundation, ex-listener up in here. I super duper looper duper apologize for not reading this in a little bit. You know, life and everything, you know how it is. Anyways, we are currently in chapter 24, but I'm going to go back a chapter because, you know, we haven't had this in like a long time. But basically in chapter 23, if I remember correctly, they were getting us to somewhere where they thought we could somehow do something about this certain SCP that they are very afraid of, and something like that. Okay, but the thing is, we have a very bad feeling or nervous feeling about it, and something like that. I'm not gonna read half of that because it's just us talking, right? So by the time we arrive and they escort us in there and leave us alone to walk towards the depths of whatever, we started feeling worse and worse, pressure thickening, worse, the bad feeling every time is just getting worse and worse, to the point where our bodies just started to feel pain as soon as we saw the person or started having flashbacks or something like that, which, as you can see, we screamed really loud apparently. And then we were still in a lot of pain. And there was a voice that said, "I'm sorry." And we ended up having a flashback. And this person ended up ramming into us. Our family, which killed your brother, your mom, and I think your dad. And you're like, why? Why? And in that flashback, we were just still in a lot of pain. And we were like, "I can't forgive you. It's your fault." And it ended up being our fault. And then that we shouldn't blame him. We were the one that called out to him. I'm the reason they're dead. And eventually we just passed out. Dr. Bright was like, "Oh shit, we should go and get them." And they're like, "Oh hell no, we should lock that down and just leave her there with that crazy psycho." And eventually the psycho ended up, I think, killing a guard, going up the elevator, and just meeting both of them and be like, "You better take care of her or else," or something like that, in exchange for information. So yeah, so it's not looking too good for us, honestly. It really isn't looking really good for us at all. Whew, for reals. Hey y'all, so some warnings getting into this. There will be a lot of mentions of basically a lot of family drama / family sadness. There will also be mentions of suicide attempts / person trying to off themselves. There will be mentions of guns, knives, and a lot of blood and violence. That's going to be mentioned a heck a lot. And then there will also be mentions of just kind of like people disappearing and just kind of just mental outness, you know, just like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. If there's any warnings I've missed, they will be on the screen right now. You guys have been warned. Anyways, ooh, that is such a pretty picture. I might put this as the thumbnail. Who knows? I might just. Anyways, now we're officially in chapter 24, remembering. And then the author's like, "This is going to be a long chapter because I'm going to be relieving a bunch." And these memories are taking place in parentheses. Also, this image of Kondraka. No, bro. Okay, BN, brother name, younger. BBN, big brother name. And then now we're into the dream. YN POV / dream. Pop's disappearance. I stared at Pops and Father as they yelled at each other. "She needs to know. This is her family we're talking about," Pops yelled. "Why are they yelling? She could get hurt. Your only granddaughter. Think this through." Father yelled. "No, this is a betrayal of this family. I told you the truth." Pops was cut off No, stop. I felt tears prick my eyes. No, this is my daughter we're talking about. Father yelled as I felt tears run down my cheeks. Why are you fighting? I asked, coming out from behind the door. The two looked at me as I sniffled. And then don't worry, just the adults talking. He was cut off as he screamed in pain. Not even gonna attempt it. Pop's scream as there was a bright light. I'm sorry, Father yelled as I covered my eyes. I felt tears run down my cheeks. Please forgive me, I muttered as I ran down the hallway away from my father. If I knew he'd use it like this, I wouldn't have made it. I made it to my room and quickly locked the door and falling onto my bed in a puddle of my tears. Okay. First memory wipe. First memory wipe. A little bit after Pop's disappearance. I sat in front of my father. Why? I don't get it, I said, looking down at the ground as the stuffed toy in my lap. You know our family isn't normal. You've noticed it. I've noticed it. Your mother could see things other couldn't, just like Bien. They saw what was going to happen. They knew what we were gonna say before we even said it. Your uncle's eyes. Have you ever wondered why you're the only one that gets to look into them? Why he always wears black glasses? Or your other uncle? I know you've seen the plant sprout out of his back and arms. Have you ever wondered why Uncle takes care of William when he's half the size of him? Our family isn't normal. The only one who isn't strange is, well, me and BBN. He said slowly. I know, I said, looking down as tears welled up in my eyes. So, wouldn't it be better to forget? He asked. I looked back up at him quickly. No, Father, I don't want to forget them, I yelled. Shh, it's okay, he quickly said as some noises happened downstairs. I know what you did to Pops. I know you used the thing you asked me to make. If I knew you'd use it like that, I never would have made it, I yelled, feeling some tears slip from my eyes. Shh, honey, I need you to be quiet, he said. I don't want to do this earlier, but trust me, this is the best for the whole family. You won't forget your uncles or brother. You're just going to forget the strange things, he said, pulling out a little vial of liquid. Just drink it and fall asleep, he said as I grabbed the vial. Okay, I paused, feeling scared. Go on, he reassured as I quickly drank the whole thing, seeing my world turn white. Time skip after memory swipe. I looked up at Uncle Mason as he stared into my eyes. She's not alright, is she? He asked Uncle Lucas as he also stared into my eyes. What? I asked. Wyan, what color are my eyes? He asked slowly. Blue? I guessed because I didn't know the answer. Uncle Lucas quickly turned to Uncle Mason. Alright, honey, I want you to go play with your Uncle William, Uncle Mason said as I walked over to Uncle William as he played with some blocks. Hi, I said, sitting down next to him. What do you think we should build? I asked as he moved some blocks, making a tiny tower. A castle? I asked as he nodded a little. Okay, I said, starting to help build the walls. I could hear hushed talking in the kitchen. What did you do? You erased her memories, didn't you? I shifted uncomfortably, feeling a headache started to grow. It was the best choice. Her abilities were getting out of control, attracting attention where we didn't want it. Would you rather have her forget or Foundation members shooting a gun at you? Father shot back as I could feel some droplets of blood drip from my lip. You should have asked us. We could have helped. Did you even ask her opinion on it? Or did you force the amnestic down her throat? Another whispered. Sick. I groaned, feeling very bad at the memory. William whined beside me, fidgeting. Don't worry, I'm fine. I stopped as blood fell from my mouth. William began to scream as everything went black. First time memories have come back. I blinked a few times. Huh? I asked softly, sitting up, seeing everyone around me. What happened? I asked, looking at my uncles and father. Ryan, are you okay? Uncle Mason asked slowly as I nodded. Yeah, why? I asked. You suddenly passed out and now you have a fever, Uncle Lucas said as I placed my hand on my forehead. I do? I asked, rubbing my cool hand on my ragged hot forehead. Father looked at me and pulled out a needle. How much do you remember? He asked slowly as I rubbed my cold hands on my forehead more. Everything? I said carefully and slowly as he quickly raised the needle and plunging it into my neck. Damn it, I shouldn't have told him. I placed my hands over the wound, looking up at them, seeing all seeing one of pity and another of sadness. They're not helping? I felt my world start to blur. Damn, you truly are all cowards, I muttered, feeling my body begin to go limp. Right before the incident, I put on my coat and looked over to Bien. Come on. Come. What am I saying so wrong? Come on, go get your coat, I said as he kept playing with his Rubik's Cube. Bien? I called, looking more closely at him. What's wrong? I asked. I don't wanna, he said. What, you don't wanna go? We need to, bud, I said. Bien turned to me and frowned. None of us should go, he said slowly. Why? I asked as he pouted. We just shouldn't, I said, looking down. Hey, Mom, I yelled, seeing my mom walk out of the kitchen with her coat and purse. Yes, she asked. Bien doesn't want to go, I said as she sighed, and got a look I can barely describe. She looked half between sad and guilty. Honey, she said softly, walking over to Bien and bent down to his level as he kept his eyes to the ground. You know we have to do this, she muttered softly. I know, but... He paused and shoved his head into his mom's shoulder. Is he okay? I asked. He's fine, honey. We'll just get to the car for now. You go get ready. We'll be waiting, Mom said as she walked out of the living room carrying Bien. Okay, I said, walking over to the table to grab my wallet. I wonder what's going on, I muttered, walking out of the house and towards the car. I quickly opened the back seat, seeing Bien. Don't you want to sit in the front? I asked, confused. No, he said quickly, looking down and kept playing with his Rubik's Cube. Okay, I said slowly, getting up in the front seat and looking for the seatbelt, just seeing just a cut fabric. What happened to the seatbelt? I asked as Mom shrugged. Last time BBN was in here, I think he broke it, Mom said as I nodded. Oh, all right, I said, sitting back down in my seat. Right, let's go, Mom said as I watched in the rearview mirror BBN hide something shiny behind his back. Brother's visit. I slowly sat up from my bed, feeling someone shake me awake. Huh? I asked, seeing BBN. Why are you here? I looked around, seeing the hospital I stayed at when I got into the car accident. I'm leaving, Wyatt, he said, looking at me. What? I asked, feeling worry rise in me. I can't keep seeing you like this. A shell of yourself, he said as I noticed a weird tattoo of some kind of tree on his hands. What is that? I reached out, traced the markings, seeing a snake head at the bottom of where the root should be. What do you mean? I asked. He looked at me sadly. You can't remember because of him. That monster is taking everything away from you, Wyan. If you could just have maybe you wouldn't have. It's just not fair, he muttered quickly as two of us became quiet, hearing a doctor pass by my room. I looked at the white hospital door, seeing the shadow footprints walked by. Wyan, don't trust Father. He's not what you think, BBN said as he ran over to the window, opening it. Wyan, you know I love you. I'll come and get you. I'll bring this really big weapons so we can kill that thing, he said, jumping out of the window. I felt my head start to ache as I lied down. Maybe some rest will fix it. I slowly drifted off. A couple months after the incident, I laid in the hospital bed looking up at the white ceiling. He truly does hate me. All of them do. I felt a few tears slip from my eyes. Brother left me all alone, even after losing BN and Mother. Father came, but he just wanted to make sure I didn't remember. I guess it's good that I didn't get them back until Brother came. I sat up. But it won't last long, I muttered. I looked down at my bandage-wrapped arms. I just can't sit and wait for him to erase me again. I need to do something. I pressed the nurse's help button on the side of my bed, seeing a nurse walk in a few minutes later. Yes, Miss Wyan? They asked as I stared at them, but I can't just take him off the visitors list. He'll get suspicious. I smiled at the nurse. Can you please get me a wheelchair? I would like some fresh air. I asked nicely as they nodded. All right, please wait, they said. I looked over at the door, feeling my stomach churn. Is there no way out? I could run away, but I surely would be found instantly with these wounds. I can't wait for them to heal either. I don't have that kind of time. I chewed on my nail. I guess I should just clear my head before I get too deep into thought. I stopped as the nurse came back with a wheelchair. Here you go. Do you need any help? They asked as I nodded. They slowly helped me into the chair as I smiled. "Thank you," I said as I began to roll away. "I don't need any help with this part. I'll come back into my room and call you. Oh, excuse me. I don't need any help with this part. I'll come back to my room and call you to get in the chair once I'm done," I said, rolling out of the room and down the hallway. I rolled my way towards the tiny garden in the middle of the hospital. I don't think I've seen the outside in days. I stopped the chair as a shiver went up my spine. Someone. I stopped, looking around only to see the nurse and doctors. Someone's here. Someone like me. I kept looking around, trying to find the source of this feeling. Or is it a thing? Where? I stopped, seeing something catch my eye. I stared at a man with burning red hair that was tied back in a tight ponytail that accompanied bright green eyes shimmer like emeralds. Is it him? I looked at the white suit and hat he wore, as he seemed to be troubled. I looked at the guns on his hip. It's those are the things that aren't normal. I sighed. I'm glad it wasn't something too bad. I looked back at the man as we walked away with what looked like to be bodyguards following him. I shook my head. I should meddle in his business, though I never thought I would meet a Bright so soon. Especially Miko Bright. Pops always liked talking about the Bright family, and how Miko Bright was a distinguished fool who didn't except where he was born. I started to move the chair again. I rolled into the small garden, setting myself under a tree so I wouldn't get burned by the spring light. I guess there's no way I'm getting out of this. I sighed and leaned against my chair. I'm trapped, I muttered, getting a soft chuckle from someone beside me. I looked over, seeing a dark-skinned male that looked like a patient too. Huh? I muttered softly, seeing the bandage that wrapped around his eyes. Sorry, I just find it a little ironic. He muttered softly. He was that feeling. It wasn't those guns. I looked over at his face and smiled, knowing what he was about. Guess his father finally ripped out his eyes because of his gifts. Just like Pops predicted. You can still see. You're a very lucky boy, I said as he gave a bitter laugh. How rude. Saying something like that, I cut him off. David Bright, you have a gift like no other. You see things people will kill for, I said bluntly, sighing a little after a few minutes. You're like a bird. You can still fly through the sky. You think you're caged, but that's a lie. Use those eyes of yours and fly free. Do what's best for you, I said as he fell silent. What about you? What kind of bird are you? He asked softly as I sighed. I'm the kind of bird that never learned how to fly. Oh, was always kept in a cage. Had her wings and eyes ripped out at the first operational. I'm only a shell of the beautiful bird I once was, you could say, I muttered, looking up at the sky. Look at the time. I better get back to my room. I hope you have a speedy recovery, David, I said softly and started to wheel away. How do you know my name? He asked as I chuckled. It's on your wristband, I said, going back into the hospital to await my father. David Bright POV. Liar. I muttered, playing with the band on my wrist. I know Dad wouldn't have put my real name if he could help it, I sighed. For the first time in my life, I really think I didn't see that one coming. I chuckled and looked up at the warm sky. We'll meet again, I'm sure, I said, smiling. Moving out. I sighed as I moved some boxes into the moving van. I'll be leaving now, I said, smiling at my father as he chuckled. All right, please be safe. And remember, if your condition starts to appear again, come home as soon as possible, he said. Right. If I start to split up blood, I'll come running, I said, reassuring him as he smiled. Be safe, Father said as I got in the car and drove away. Softly, after moving out, I was sitting on my bed, flipping through a fairy tale book. I wonder what I should eat, I muttered, looking back down at the book. Medusa, I muttered. Eyes that turn people into stone. That sounds familiar. I felt my head start to spin as something dripped from my lip. Huh? I touched my lip, seeing dark red blood. Oh my God. Ah! I screamed, standing up, feeling suddenly dizzy. I need to call Father, I gasped, trying to grab the phone that was by my bedside. No. I felt my vision blur as I passed out. Getting closer to Mason. I smiled. So you're really back? Mason asked as I nodded. Yep. Hooray! I said, sarcastically clapping my hands. Are you going to tell father? I asked as he flinched. Why would I do that? He asked, looking away. What I thought, I said, and looked over to William. Has he been good? I asked as Mason nodded. Yeah, a little lonely since you've been gone, and with how much work I have. He said as I nodded. Well, I'm back, and I'm going to make things right, I muttered. How? Mason asked. I sighed and leaned back. First, I'm going to learn how this power in my body works. Then I'm going to make sure all of you are happy. I said, smiling. Sure. He said, sadly looking down. Be careful. Mason said, looking back up at me. I hummed. There are many people after you. Many people who die for you. Many people who want you dead. I want you to know that the power that you have is a strong burden that even my father had trouble carrying on his shoulders. Mason said, looking at me with pity. I know, it's already weighing on me. But I can't just sit down and take it. Now can I? I said, smiling. You're too much like your mother. He laughed. Getting closer to Mason Part 2, Electric Beluga. Get away! Mason screamed at me through the branches that seemed to grow out of his back and arms. Damn it! How'd it get so bad? I tried moving through the thick branches and leaves as they tugged at my skin, ripping into it. Damn it, I said leave! He screamed again as I got closer. The hell I will! Like I would leave behind my own flesh and blood. I wormed my way around all the branches, finding my uncle on his knees, crying and gagging on the leaves that seemed to grow out of his own body. I looked into his pained eyes as more tears seemed to fall again. Get away, he begged, trying to move his arm to push me away, only for branches to grow out of them to get caught on each other's, making his arms stay still. Please, he begged more as I bent down. This is gonna hurt, I whispered as I pulled out a pair of shears, quickly shearing all of the branches that grew out of his arms and back. He screams. He screamed out as I could see droplets of blood dripping from the edges of the stumps. Not done, I muttered, grabbing a hold of one of the stumps. I'm sorry. I pulled at the stump, uprooting it from his body. Screaming. He screamed as I continued seeing the bloody roots that used to be burrowed deep into his body. I sighed and looked over at the now passed out Mason. I guess I'll clean him now. I quickly bandaged all of the roots around his arms and back. What to do with these? I looked around the room out of all the leaves and branches. This is going to take some time. I sighed and quickly got to work. Time skip. I sighed and content and walked over to the sleeping Mason. I'm sorry, I muttered again as I bent down and placed a pair of gloves next to him. Hopefully these make up for it, I muttered, placing a note next to the gloves. These gloves should stop the growth of those plants forever and evermore. I know they're not much of an excuse for how much pain I've caused you, but at least you won't have to go through it anymore, right? I sighed and looked down to the cowering William, who sat in the corner afraid for his life. Hey, Will, I said, calling him over as he moved carefully and fast to me. Make sure he reads that note, okay? I said, patting his head. He whined as I sighed. No worries, he's fine, I said as I began to leave. I need to get going. Stay safe, William, I said, walking out of the door. Getting closer to Lucas. I looked at the man in front of me. Oh, hello, you must be YN. I'm Oliver. I'm Lucas' husband. It's very nice to meet you, he said happily as I nodded. Why wasn't I invited to the wedding? I asked Lucas. Trust me, no one was. He sighed. He's been trying to get away ever since him and Mason couldn't see eye to eye anymore. I sighed. And why I'm here? I said. Lucas paused and quickly guided me to the room, showing me two little girls who looked up at me. Is this our cousin? One asked as I turned to the Lucas, raising an eyebrow. I had two girls with my last wife, you see, and I want you to, make sure they're not like us. He seemed to have trouble getting the words out of his mouth, making me sigh. What happened to her, your wife, I mean? I said, bending down to look at the girls more closely. I accidentally turned her to stone, he said as I looked over to Oliver. He knows, don't worry. Lucas said. I paused. What is it? Lucas said as I sighed. One girl is like you, can turn people into stone. It's weak, but will grow stronger with age. The other is like BN. She can see into the future, I said, standing up. Damn it, he muttered. Can you do anything for them? Oliver asked as I sighed. I can, but you won't like it. I said as Lucas seemed to perk up at my answer. What can you do? He asked as I shrugged. The one and the one and the most dangerous with the one is with the one with the Medusa eyes. I said, getting cut off. Emma? Her name is Emma. The other is Ava. Oliver said, right. Well, Emma is in the most danger because of her eyes. Luckily for her, she's still young, so maybe I could remove her powers. The catch is that it might make her blind, but it's a fair trade in my mind. I said as the two paused. They looked at each other before Lucas turned to me. Do it. She won't have to live like me. He said as I sighed, oh, and before you ask about Ava, there's nothing I can do about her. It won't impact her life too much if she learns how to control it. I said, walking over to Emma, all right, sweetie, I need you to lay down on that couch and try your best to fall asleep. I said as she did as told. Now, great. Eva, could you please go to the other room and stay as quiet as possible? The two of you should go with her. I said as Lucas nodded, quietly guiding the rest of his family out of the room quickly, closing the door behind him. I sighed and walked over to Emma's side, bending down. Will it hurt? She asked softly as I saw tears well in her eyes. No, sweetie, it will not. I said, rubbing my hand softly over her forehead, wiping away the tears quickly with the other. Just rest. I muttered, closing my eyes and humming a soft tune as I could feel the power slowly dwell within me and run through me and her. I wish you the best luck through life, Emma. I wish that you have a 10 times better life than your father, and a 10 times better life than me. Stay by your sister's side, hand in hand, going through troubles of life together. I sighed and removed my hand from her forehead. You can sit up now. I said as she did as told. Now, Emma, open your eyes. I said as she slowly but carefully opened her eyes, making me look into them for any sign of a glow. Nope. That's good. It seemed it worked. I sighed and patted her head. You did very well. You guys can come in now, I yelled to the people waiting outside as they bursted in. Did it work? Lucas said as I nodded. Thank God, he yelled, clinging to his daughter's side, crying as Oliver seemed to be tearing up as well. Also, good news, she seemed to have to retain her sight, I added, but that didn't seem to matter as Lucas cried harder into his daughter's shoulder, holding her close. I sighed and shook my head as I walked out of the room and down the hallway, only to be stopped by Ava. I wanted to thank you for helping out my sister. She said, yeah, but you already know it was going to work, didn't you? I said, smirking as she smiled. Well, yes, but I really wanted to warn you about something, she said as I raised an eyebrow. Miss, you're going to die if you run, she said as I blinked. Huh? I said, urging her a little to continue. At your darkest moment, when you think the only thing you can do is run, don't. You'll be sentenced to death or even worse. You'll be thrown to the lions that want to devour you so badly, she said as I nodded. Okay, I'll try my best, I said, patting her head. I'll be going now. You take care of your sister, I said as she nodded, making me walk out of the house, closing the door behind me. This is a lot of getting closer to people, Jesus. I got this. Getting closer to Isabella / Dr. Wonderstatement. Isabella, I yelled, looking at the broken girl before me. Huh? She seemed to matter out, looking up at me. My apologies for any inconvenience. I truly didn't mean to bother you, she muttered, as I looked around at the broken pieces of flesh-colored glass around me. Damn it, how did this happen? I looked at her face as her expression seemed blank. Damn it, I said. I truly didn't mean any convenience, she said again as I shook my head. None taken, I said as I picked her up. Time to fix you, I said, bringing her into my house and placing her on the couch. Just give me some time to grab my tools, I said, walking over to my garage, quickly entering and looking through some boxes. A shiver quickly went up my spine as I looked behind me, seeing a man that looked like a ringleader. Howdy ho. How do you do? He said, tipping his brightly colored hat to me. I muttered, shit, did I finally get caught? I looked back at the man as he placed his hat back on his head. You might be wondering who I am. Well, I'm the amazing Dr. Wonderstatement, connoisseur of child toys and love of children, he said. It'd be rude not to introduce myself. Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Wyatt. I was cut off. I already know who you are. No need to worry about that, he said, dancing around me. Then why are you here? I asked, softly watching him carefully. No need to give me that look, he said. I'm only here to offer a small deal to you, could say. Oh, yeah, what's that? I asked. Well. To replace that dear Isabella doll I gave you years ago. Well, that doll wasn't for you. It was for your dear aunt, but she's gone and done. So now you're the fair owner of this precious doll made so long ago. He said, as my eyebrows furrowed. She doesn't need replacing, I stated. Dr. Wondertainment chuckled. I don't think you seem to understand the purpose of my amazing doll. I created the Isabella doll for the protection of you and you alone. But sadly, the Isabel doll cannot do a job because she got no arms. How can a loyal soldier fight with no arms? That's right, she can't. He started in a sad tone, but slowly dwindled into one of derangement excitement. And now she needs to be replaced, he said. No, I said, starting to grab my tools and some parts. I'm going to fix her, I said. Dr. Wondertainment still doesn't seem to understand as he tilted his head to the side in confusion. But that would take away much more effort than just replacing her, don't you think? He asked as I sighed. That doesn't matter to me. She's Isabella to me. A part of this family no matter what, I explained, walking back into the living room, seeing her already asleep. Oh, I see now. Do you have some sort of emotional attachment to her, don't you? That's fair. You have had her for a long time, haven't you? Dr. Wondertainment said, following after me as I placed everything down next to Isabella. Then how about I make another deal with you, Missy? He asked. What is it? I asked back. How about we fix this little doll together? Oh, how fun that would be to work with you, he said as I sighed. Why would I do that? I asked. Well, you don't know how she is originally made, right? I could help you with that, you know. You can't make mistakes, and I'm around. We'll be like partners in crime fixing something broken together, he said as I sighed, about to respond. Plus, I'll keep this little amulet secret for you, he said, holding up the blue amulet that looked exactly like the red one I copied it from so long ago. Where'd you get that? I said quickly and quietly, trying to grab the jewel, only to have Dr. Wondertainment pull away from me. I can't let you have this, he said, wiggling his finger. This is quite the dangerous. Yes, I am. You have. What? This is quite the dangerous possession you have in your possession, don't you think? I never thought you would be the one to want to live forever, but I guess you never know, he said, pocketing the jewel. What are you going to do with it? I asked, backing away from him. I'll get it back to you. If you work for me, that is, he said. So, what's your game? Fine, whatever. So that's your game. Fine, whatever, I said, reaching my hand out for him to take as he did so, shaking it firmly. I'm extremely excited to be working with you, he said, smiling. Blaming yourself / kill attempt 1. I leaned back in my chair, sighing. Everything comes so rightful and right. I closed my eyes. I imagined the burning faces of my family as tears slipped from them. I wonder what they're doing now. I felt more tears come out of my eyes. They probably hate me for not dying with them, I muttered. This power is truly a curse. The only reason Abel saved me was because of that damn power. If only they had it, not me. Maybe I would have been the only one to die. This would have been nice. That would have been nice, I sighed. This power only causes me trouble, I thought, looking back on life. I blinked away the tears that filled my eyes as I wiped them away with my sleeve. I'm really just the worst. The only thing that ever happens when I'm around is splitting people farther away from each other. The only thing I cause is pain and suffering. I should have never existed. I scoured my desk, seeing a lone box cutter sitting peacefully. I smiled. Maybe I can make it right. I grabbed the box cutter, quickly jabbing it into my skin deeper and deeper. Right? I felt an extreme amount of pain shoot up my arm as the knife dug deeper and deeper into the skin, trying to peel it backward to reveal the waiting veins. Maybe, just maybe. I plunged the knife through the veins, trying to find the biggest one. I can make it right, I muttered, seeing the world grow dark. Kill attempt 2. I walked up the ladder looking at the bandages I wrapped around my arms. Maybe this time it'll work. I lied to myself as I felt the ragged texture of the rope sling over my neck, securing itself tightly around it. Please, please work. I quickly jumped off the stepladder and pushed the stepladder away, hanging. I'm gonna skip those 2 words. Swing slightly in the wind as the rope held me even tighter than before. I gasped for any kind of oxygen for my body as I could see the black dots and feel my body slowly giving up on me. Please. I closed my eyes, hoping for the best. Jesus Christ! Kill attempt 3. My shaky hands reached to grab the medicine cabinet, ripping it open and grabbing a couple of pill bottles, opening them each of them and downing the content. Please, please, please! I grabbed more and quickly ate them, feeling my stomach turn. This has to work. I felt like vomiting when I suddenly collapsed. Oh yeah, sleeping pills. I blinked a few times before falling asleep. Kill attempt 4. I sat in my still running car as I looked over to the closed garage door. Why? I could smell the gas slowly seeping through the open windows as I leaned back, closing my eyes. Why can't I just die already? I took deep breaths, feeling my body crave oxygen. Kill attempt 5. Click, 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 click. Damn it! Why isn't it firing? I threw the gun to the ground, feeling tears run down my face. Why doesn't it work? I slammed my hand on the ground, feeling more tears. Kill attempt 6. I felt my wind blow through my hair as they looked down the building, getting farther and farther away from it until that fateful smack of my body on the ground. Jesus Christ, girl. This is too much. I laid on the ground, feeling my whole body ache. Cutting, hanging, overdosing, carbon dioxide, trying to shoot myself, jumping from a building, and much more. I looked at all the empty pill bottles around me, but nothing works. I could finally hear the door of my room open and panic talking, but I wasn't paying attention. Maybe they finally came for me. I felt myself being picked up and taken somewhere. I'll fix you, don't worry. Papa's here. He'll make sure you'll never feel sad again. I heard someone say feeling my eyes grow wide as I quickly pushed myself away from him and ran towards the window. I won't let this happen again. I threw myself towards the window, hitting it, forcibly breaking it. I fell into the grass as I began to run. I won't let myself be whipped again. I want to die as myself. I ran into the forest, quickly hiding behind a tree. Wyan, please come out, Father called as I crawled through the underbush. This is for your own good, dear, he called. I don't want to lose it again. I scrambled away from the approaching footsteps. Please! I felt the back of my shirt being pulled back. Let go! I yelled, getting thrown to the floor. I looked up, seeing Father. This is for your own good, Wyan. Please understand, he stood, walking up with a vial in hand. Back up, I said, trembling as I tried to run away, only to get my leg crushed under a large boot. No! I felt something stab the back of my neck. Just go to sleep and forget, he muttered as I felt my eyelids become heavy. Dr. Glass's POV. I looked at Wyan's sleeping face as tears dripped from her eyes and down her beautiful cheeks. Please wake up. I looked to the side, seeing Abel stare at me. What? He muttered as I felt my eyes wander to the explosive collar around his neck. I hate this. He's the reason she's like this. If I only took her sooner. Now she has way too many guards for me. Even to touch her would be super suspicious. I pouted and looked back to Wyan. Why are you protecting her? I asked, getting my pen and paper ready. Abel looked at Wyan, then back to me. She draws you in like a moth to a flame. I can't help it. It's like that for all of us, she said simply. Us? I asked, making him harden his stare. SCP, as you would call it? He said as I nodded. Do you feel any sexual attraction to her? I asked, writing his answers down. No, of course not. It's more like, she's my dog and I'm her owner. I like having her around because she fills the silence, but is also incredibly stupid. He mutters, overlooking to her possessively and muttering under his breath. I also hate when someone tries to take my pet, especially that damn bastard. He muttered, I'm just going to ignore that. Wait, did he just call Wyan a dog? I feel myself become kind of angry and was about to go on an angry rant when I quickly was snapped out of my thoughts as Wyan abruptly sat up with tears still going down her cheeks. Ah, she's awake, I yelled, trying to tone down my overwhelming excitement. Get the O5 ready, I yelled, as the guards to the guards as one of them quickly ran out of the room. I looked back to YN, YN still seeing tears running down her face. Don't cry. I felt my heart begin to ache. YN, can you hear me? I asked her as she turned to me, showing her eyes that would be as cold and blank as ice. I paused, feeling even worse. Why hasn't she responded? I shivered as she smiled at me. YN? I asked and stirred to reach my hand out to her, only to have it smacked away by Abel. Don't touch her, he growled, standing up and wrapping his arms around her, making YN close her eyes again for a few seconds before lifting up her hand and tapping Abel's arm, making him slowly let go of her and look back down at her. What's going on? YN smiled up at him as he sighed. Fine, do what you desire, he said, pulling away and sitting back down. YN? I asked, making her turn to me. Are you okay? I asked as she nodded slowly, still crying but smiling at the same time. I bit my lips. Why aren't you talking? I asked as she looked down. Sorry. Her voice was hoarse and tired. I didn't want to answer any more questions. I needed to collect my thoughts first. He muttered softly, slowly looking at the wall and staring at it. What did he do? I looked over to Abel, seeing him leaning back in his chair nonchalantly. I quickly stood up. I can't take this anymore. I quickly walked out of the room, only sparing a glance at Wyan as she continued to stare at the wall. I can't bear to see her like that. I walked down the hallway, letting my thoughts consume me. Oh my gosh, this is the longest shit I've ever read. Oh my god. Oh, and I've read that at my fastest talking speed, kind of, but I'm tired. What can I say? Anyways, all right. So a lot happened for people who counted to keep up. Here are my notes. Grandfather is missing to everyone because Wyan's father opened a rip in time and space, sending him into it. He has the power to control SCP and stop their abilities from taking effect, good or bad. Can even create SCP if needed. Cool. That's who we met. Look at that. Grandmother, dead because of sickness. She didn't have any powers. Father is an outsider who married into the family, has no powers. The one who put YN into the foundation so she wouldn't be taken by other places. Chaos Injury, Serpent Hand, Church of the Broken God, etc. Mother, dead in a car accident, was big influence on YN. Her power was that should she blink, could blink eyes into the future. Kind of like David Bright, just less powerful. Aunt, Wyan's mother's sister, had a daughter before dying. The daughter is a human doll. She made it because she couldn't have kids. Aunt's daughter, Isabella, is a complete and utter doll without any emotions. Was made by her and Dr. Wonderstatement. Dr. Wonderstatement made the doll to protect Wyan because he couldn't get close enough to her to protect her. One uncle. The name is Wilson. Is the oldest of the uncles. Has the power to grow things out of his arms. Plants. Didn't first know he had this power until he started to grow plants extremely and was stuck in his house. Wyan came along and freed him by spending hours cutting the plants down to size. She then made special gloves for him to wear so they would never grow again unless taken off. 2 uncle. Name is Lucas, second oldest. Has eyes that if anyone looks into them turns into stone. The only person who could look into his eyes is Wyan and Grandpa. Has tried carving his eyes out many times. They always come back. Tried asking Wyan to get rid of his eyes, but it didn't work because she forgot. 2 uncle, 1 daughter. Has a twin, is 2. Name is Emma. Has the same power as her father. 2 uncle, 2 daughter. Is the twin to 1. The name is Ava. She can see into the future. 2 uncle, husband. Name is Oliver. Has no powers. 3 uncle. Name is William, the youngest of the 3. Has the mind of a child and has super strength and is giant. 9 feet tall, 200 pounds of muscle. Is being taken care of by Mason. Wyan's brother. 1 brother. Older than 2. The name is BBN. Has the power to like Wyan, but SCP hates him. Has powers like Wyan, but SCP hates him. Is part of the Serpent's Hand and knows David Bright. Wyan 2 brother. Name is BN. Is dead and has the power to see in the future. Timeline. Grandpa, Pops, has kids with Grandma. Grandma dies of sickness. Kids William, Lucas, Mason, and Wyan's mom start to live their lives. Wyan's mom gets married to Wyan's father. Family disapproves because of bad feeling, and they were correct. Has BBN, which goes well with the whole family, except Pops because he's disappointed that the son didn't carry his trait for strangeness / is the opposite. Has YN, which carry Pop's trait, but extremely more powerful. Has BN, can see future. Kids grow a little. YN's parents realize that their new powers might be bad for their safety. Mostly YN because she can't control her powers like BN can. No one wants BBN. YN's father and Pops start to get into arguments about what to do with YN. Pops wants to keep her as she is and just protects her. Just protected her. And father wants to erase her memories, so it's processor power / not really, but it works for the time being. Pops gets kicked into a pocket universe because of something father asked YN to make. Erased YN's memories. One after a short talk. Wyan got memories back after talking to her uncles, and they noticed something was off as they tried to remind her. Bad because she started to throw up blood and remembered. Wyan's memories erased again, and that spilled the two same uncles. 2/1 agrees with father, the other doesn't. The accident that killed Wyan's mom and BN. BN visited and left to the serpent's hand after seeing her condition. Got memories back after that, and meet David Bright. Talked to him for a little bit. Gave him hope. Gets memories erased. 3. Wyan moved out and away from her father. Check in, though. Got memories back and kept them for a while. Started to help her uncle / cousin with stuff. Got close to them. Started to understand her powers more and seemed to realize that everything that's been so hard in her life is her fault and her fault alone. Started to try and kill herself. Started to get on the Foundation's radar and more chaos and urgency, serpent's hand, etc. Father seems to notice all of this shit that's happening. Suicide attempts. Erased memories 4 that was placed into the Foundation. Story starts here. Oh my gosh. This is so much shit. Let me also explain how Wyan's anonymous effects works. It all depends on her emotions. If she's scared or in danger, that sends out a signal to the other anomalous being for help. If she's happy, the others are happy. If she's sad, the others are sad and or angry at the thing making Wyan sad. Get it? If you have any questions about the timeline or anything, and then blah, 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 if you have questions, just let the author know. So I'm going to have to dissect this a lot. So, I'm probably going to create, 2 extra chapters just for, the timeline and, basically explaining everybody's powers. I was going to read, 2 chapters, but Jesus Christ! Oh my goodness, I've never read this much in just one damn. But they did say it was going to be long, and there will be plenty of warnings, obviously, because Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness. Oh wait, hold on. Before we actually do this, this is what the author thinks the family looks like. Pops looks like that. Honestly, that's what I kind of imagine. Isabella. Okay, I'm not surprised there at all. Oliver. Okay. Lucas, alright. Mason, Eva and Emma. That's cute. That is super cute. Anyways, y'all, this was getting West Side, bro. It was intense. Anyways, I do hope you guys did enjoy this. Let me know if you guys have any questions about, the whole timeline thing or anything, but basically, we read our backstory of Wyan's backstory. Let me know if you guys have any questions about that, or or you want to make up theories or anything like that as to possibly why the hell her father is the way that he is. Let me know in the comments down below, because he seems a bit evil, honestly, or trying just to test to erase his family, or because my theory is to me that he might be a part of a organization that just likes to eradicate, and then just married into a family and just started eradicating them. That's personally my theory. Let me know your theories or questions or whatever in the comments down below. I'm curious. Also, we are so close to finishing All we have to do is read chapter 5, and then all the endings are coming in. Aren't you guys excited? I'm not going to be reading it for this because this is going to take me way too long. And I already have a lot to look through in chaptering. So I do apologize, but don't worry, we'll get into it soon. Don't y'all worry. Whew. Anyways, I do hope you guys did enjoy this. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more amazing videos, guys. This is gonna get interesting. I'm so happy this book is slowly but surely coming to a close. It's been nothing but chaotic reading this story. I'm telling you, bro. But it's not bad. It's not as bad as I thought it would be, but it's pretty good. So yeah. Also, remember the link to this story and the author who made this is going to be in the link in the description down below. If the link doesn't work or you can't find the author, just type exactly what the title is because it is the exact title of the story, except just replace the listener to reader. Just letting y'all know. Anyways, sadly, your girls gotta go. Bye and peace, y'all. Have a great day.